orphanages in the States. I saw those children. I saw one of them that was actually still learning how to work, a baby, and I felt emotional because beautiful, fair, light skin, and then it reminds me of my own children. When they were that age, I was really emotional about it, meeting them, and I felt that beyond the governor's birthday, that I will make it much more regular, going to see this, because at some point I think we bonded with the children there.
Opportunity for you to see those.
And I believe that it is going to be a recurring decimal. We're not going to have to wait for the governor's birthday to go and.
So now he has also made
established to join there. At some point I thought maybe we should turn and go back to another place. Since I now realize that all across the state. It's still the same queue I will go and meet, because people were passionate about emulating the governor, in terms of celebrating with the less privileged. Yes, the governor is humble, there is no doubt about that, and then he has a forgiving spirit. Let me tell you something about uniting Akwa Ibom State, making Akwa Ibom State to even be more united than ever. The governor is not missing words when he says that. If maybe you were the one, you know how much you suffered. Things are tough in Nigeria. Make no mistake about it.
So tough.
You suffered and got your certificate. You sponsor yourself in school. You make your name in business, and you know that as a businessman, you are the expansion of your business depends on your integrity, depends on your pedigree, and you've built this over the years. People have come to see you as a honest person, a humble person, someone they can trust, someone they can do business with, and then because of politics, some people went and manufactured that falsehood against him, that he didn't go to school, he doesn't have a certificate, that he forged his birth certificate, that he forged his voter's card, and that he forged his school certificates. The court scrutinized all of this, from the first court, the court of first instance, to the federal high court, to the appeal court, to the Supreme Court. And then it was discovered that these were all false. In fact, let me even tell you what happened. At one of the appeal courts, at the appellate courts, when the appeal was filed, to even have a defense, some circumstances beyond the control of the governor's defense counsel or court, the defense team were unable to file a defense, their own statement of defense on time. They didn't meet the deadline. They filed it a day later, because the person went to file this defense at the Calabar High Court of Appeal in Calabar, got involved in a mishap on the waters and was later rescued and so on. But before he could get to submit that thing, it was a day late. So there was actually no defense at the appeal court to the appeal by the appellant. But even at that, the appellate court, rather, look at the whole issue and still discover that there was no iota of truth in that case against the governor's credibility, against the governor's straightforwardness, and the rules against the appellant, and still upheld the fact that the governor had genuine certificates and he was not a man of falsehood. And then the Supreme Court went and authenticated it again. Then after the elections, another person came out again, so still attack him on the issue of the same certificate, singing songs, making mockery of him all over. My sister, the point I'm trying to drive at is that if it were you, perhaps after being cleared by the Supreme Court, people should go to jail. You would have gone to court to say yes for defending me, for bringing down my credibility, for lowering me in estimation of writing members of the public, even tarnishing my image, and all of that I worked and worked for in the last 30 years. You must pay for it. That's what an average person would have done, because I would have further shown that by their skirmishes, but not for Pastor Moino. After being vindicated, I said, I have forgiven everybody. I have forgiven all of them.
And the way he sounded when he said that,
and I could feel the tears, in my heart. Say, what manner of person is this? His supporters were like, Excellency, please let us go after them. Let us take them to court. Let's charge them. Leave them to God. I have forgiven them. See, let me tell you something. What Akwa Ibom people need now is genuine reconciliation, and that's what I promised them. And so that is something I feel that people should learn. So he's not pretending about it. He's a humble man, and as humble as he is very passionate about driving his vision of the Arise agenda. Okay. Don't forget that he came with a 5-prong acronym. Arise for agriculture, R for rural development, I for infrastructural and expansion and enhancement, S for security, and then of course E for education. And as we speak, in the build-up to the first anniversary of his ascension into office, the governor has rolled out a number of projects that he will commission. And I can tell you that grassroots development, rural development, tops the list. Okay. For example, in Surubium, we have a primary health care facility that will be inaugurated. In Ezidibom, the same thing. In Ibosibosu and local government area, there is also one as well. And then we also have the education facilities upgraded and remodeled in schools like CKS, Ewet Model School, and so on. And then we have some homes for the Rise homes for the less privileged. Some of them are also going to be commissioned in that period. And then we have the roads that will commission as well. For example, the 24-kilometer road from that shelter area, for the ring road, intersection of Oron Road. Okay. From that point down to the airport, 24 kilometers expansion. That road was expanded to 8 lanes. It's also going to be commissioned. And then we have some other roads like the 3.3 kilometer road in Idwa, Idwa Road. That will also be commissioned, and several others. So it is going to be days of celebration of good governance, and this is happening in only 1 year. Yeah. And so people would like to say that if kid and them dumb, Iban Ita, and so on. So we come on to say come and I'm going to acquire one. Say no, I don't go no. Even if you hated him because you are in a political party different from his own. You see him now and he smiles at you.
I'm not seeing his comment on Facebook again. I'm not seeing those people anymore.
You're talking about the wedding he attended. At that wedding, you saw him embracing the immediate past state chairman of the Young Progressive Party, YPP, Apostle Andy.
Yeah, we saw that.
You saw him hugging his opponent in the last elections, architect Ezekiel Jaitu. And this is the same architect that took him to court, challenging his educational antecedents and so on. So this is a governor that does not believe in holding bitterness against anybody.
The style of leadership is different,
and that is why we are smiling across the states. And I think that it has come to a stage where if you are overburdened, possibly if you have a quarrel with your wife, with your spouse, and then you or anybody for that matter, and you feel that you need to be lifted, you just open the social media and look at the picture of Pastor Moino, and you smile back at him, and that will just quench all of the fire.
You know what? We always have opportunity to talk about him. If you want to go about talking about him here, I know that you, in particular, maybe I don't think it's because of the office you're giving, research and documentation. You've done a lot of work already.
No, it's not about research and documentation. It's about the fact that I genuinely know him. I know him, and I feel these things happening.
And that's what I'm saying. And apart from that, the way you do your work, I mean, it's not just about being an SSA, being SA. It's something different. I'm giving that to you. Just take it.
I will take that to the bank. But I wish you can convert that to Naira and call.
No, we will do that. We will do that. Please, I want to use this opportunity to even say that, as you talk about the governor going around places, we look forward to seeing the governor come to visit us in AKDC. What do you think? And that day you come with him.
The governor will only come to a place he's not being expected. And so if you're expecting him to come here, that's not when he will come.
No, I said God will bring him. It's God that will bring him. God will bring him one of these days.
The fact that the governor likes going to places unplanned. Okay. I remember what he started doing, and people were saying, why is he doing that? For example, within the first 2 months, he was in a church in Ure from Oruko, and the next week on Sunday he was in a church in Itu, and then he was in a church in it was just going around in Ukarafun. He went to another church. People would say, why is he going to all the churches across the state?
And he like attending events, he like attending weddings, he like all those stuff. We know we do.
And beyond that, he also likes sympathizing with those who have been involved in unfortunate situations, and that is the governor trying to make himself felt. He's trying to make people touch him, feel him,
So
so if you are going to expect him,
don't say that again.
Don't expect him so that he will come.
Okay,
so he will come.
For me.
He doesn't want people to expect him. He doesn't want a planned visit.
No, that's my opinion.
He wants to come.
I will not be there.
And that's when he will get a query for not being around. But let me tell you something. When he went and visiting those offices, people were not expecting him.
It's okay.
When he went to the power plant to inspect that place, they were not expecting him.
Okay.
And that is exactly the kind of approach to leadership. And that is why contractors in Akwa Ibom State don't joke with their work. I pity most the contractor that is handling the tourism site along Dominic Avenue.
Okay.
Because anytime the governor passes there, he will stop, enter that ravine and check the progress of work. The same thing he was doing when CKS was under construction and so on.
Because
so
the next passing there.
And he has said it clearly that it's not the governor that sits down in the office and gives directive. He goes out to the field and see things for himself.
We look forward to having a very beautiful outing during the May Day celebration in Akwa Ibom State, as far as the governor is concerned, and we look forward to having surprises coming from him, because he is full of surprises. What people are expecting may not be what he has to offer us. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Alright, that has been it on this particular segment of the program Pathfinder on AKBC TV. But I'll just say, don't go anywhere.
Incredibly fantastic. Joyfully alluring. The sight and the height of glamour. Catch the views. Draw the emotions on AKBC Channel 45. Pathfinder AM 45, making your Monday morning worthwhile. Incredibly fantastic. Joyfully alluring. The sight and the height of glamour. Catch the views. Draw the emotions on AKBC Channel 45. Pathfinder AM 45, making your Monday morning worthwhile.
It is still a worthwhile Monday morning, and I know you are still watching Pathfinder. It is not yet over. That was from our file copy. The interaction I had last week with Esendreso PhD. We were talking about Governor Moino's leadership style, and we heard it there. And then on May 1, we got to the workers. We were at the stadium. We got to see him. We heard him talk, and some of the expectations, I'm sure, will be met soon. Like he mentioned, he has done a lot of things in the state already. We are still looking forward to benefit from his leadership, to benefit from his style of leadership, and also learn one or two things from him while he is still in office. We pray that God will use him to meet some of our needs in Akwa Ibom State, because without God he can't do it. So all of us will need to pray together, and so that God will use him to do it for us. Thank you very much for still watching the program. It is not yet over. I keep saying that. Right after this time out, we bring to you the next segment of the program, and that is the You and I.
I need the police that can respond to emergencies first.
I want the equipment I need to do my job.
I want a police that won't harass or arrest me for no just reason.
I want to be valued for my work, not feared by honest people.
I want a police that won't ask me anything for the boys. I want a decent salary that is paid on time.
If it happen with good laws,
Proper funding.
Training.
and cooperation. If it happen.
If it happens.
If it happen.
This is a home where we all belong. The place where life is beautiful. The peaceful ambience we enjoy when we live together in unity and love. It's a man and you know. We go stand together, we go make them better. We be brothers and sisters, no matter where we day. It's a man and you know. No matter where we day, we are one. We are one. Let's live together in peace and harmony. Yeah.
Do you know that you have the right to quality broadcasting? The National Broadcasting Commission says any person, group of persons, or organization aggrieved by the content of a broadcast or the conduct of a broadcast station may lodge a complaint to the station and all right to the Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, number 20, Ibrahim Taiwo Street, Asokoro, Abuja, or send a mail via info@nbc.gov.ng. Please ensure that your complaint includes name of the broadcast station, title of the program, date and time of broadcast, and essence of the complaint. Also remember to include your name, address, telephone number, email, and append your signature. Note that your complaint must reach the NBC within 14 days of the queried broadcast. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting.
It's so good to know you are still there watching Pathfinder. This is another segment of the program, and that is a You and I segment. On the You and I segment, it's always a pleasure to do it with you. It is you and I because we talk about what concerns you and what concerns we and concerns me, us, and all of us here in the studio. And of course, as you're watching, we know that you're also benefiting from it. We can't do it without you, so we always appreciate the fact that you are there watching the program. Okay. On this segment today, we want to talk about what is happening around us now. You remember on the You and I, we'll talk about the trending issues. We talk about things just around us and how to tackle it. We can't just call on the government to do it for us. We can't call on others to do it for us. We call on ourselves to solve our problems the way we can. So today, we want to talk about school resumption. Coping with the school resumption. You know that today officially in Akwa Ibom State, today was declared a day where school is to resume in Akwa Ibom State. Yes, I call it today because it is the first day of the week. I am here with Mary and Andy, beautiful Mary and Andy, to do justice to this particular segment for today. Marianne, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Nobong. Always nice doing it with you.
It's always a pleasure to do it with you. That's why I call you beautiful Marianne Andy. And you are beautiful, you know.
Definitely, and you too.
Thank you.
You look good.
Thank you. So we are ready to do this together, right?
Exactly, we are ready.
Okay, always ready to do it. We'll talk about school resumption, coping with school resumption. When we say coping, why do we tackle coping?
You know the current situation, economic situation we are in now. So how can we cope with school resumption so that we don't find ourselves wanting?
So when we say coping, that means that there may be challenges in the process of trying to resume. There may be challenges in the process of sending a child to school, and because of the biting economy, things have changed. And so, like someone said the other day, the prices of things are all high, but our salaries and our income is still the same. So how do you adjust and cope with what is happening? Let's take a look at it. We have tips, but before we talk about the tips, let's talk about resumption. Resumption has to do with the idea of preparing a child to go back to school. You know, when a child was home, that was during holidays, they were just at home. And so when the child was home, what did you do? Did you just forget yourself and say the child is home? I mean, it's holidays, and then you just relax. And then when it is 2 or 3 days to resumption, you start running around. Did you prepare yourself during that holidays that school will resume again? Okay, so are you ready for today? Is your child ready to go back to school? Is he or she already in school? That's what we talk about today. Marianne?
But definitely some children are already in school and some have not resumed yet because somehow they are not ready to resume yet. So some of them are in school, some are not yet in school. Okay. So we are just trying to look at how you can cope with a school resumption now that schools have resumed and we know the situation of our economy as at now. How are you coping in terms of food, feeding your child, transportation? If your child is going to school from home, talking about the maybe primary education, even secondary, how are you coping with transportation? How prepared have you been to tackle this term that has just resumed? How in terms of feeding, school fees, even as much as prices of things, goods and services have skyrocketed.
Yes.
School fees too have skyrocketed.
Everything.
How have you? Yes. How are we going to cope? Because we are all involved.
Yes, we are all involved in this.
How prepared are we, and how are we going to cope with this school resumption based on our current economic situation right now?
So even if you like it or yes, if you like it or yes, a child must go to school.
Yes.
So if you like it or yes, you have to cope with the situation of things at the time. Now when we are talking about coping, we are talking about checklisting on your child's school fees, school wear, school bags and packs, stationaries, homework and assignments. We're also talking about other necessary things. When we talk about necessary things, it's not just enough for you to give your child a tuition fee and then you say it is okay. Especially we have to emphasize, especially a girl child, there are other necessary things you have to look up for those that we were talking about, those that the child day school, and then those that their children are in the dormitory. It's both ways. Either your child is going to school from home or your child is in the dormitory. We are talking about both ways. But first, Marianne, let's start talking about the ones that are going to school from home.
From home?
Yes, from home.
Okay. When you did mention school wears.
Yes, school wears.
When you were listing, mentioning the things that are needed for resumption. Let's start from there. Some parents have the habit of making new school uniforms for the child to begin a new term with. In times like this, if you check, there's someone that used to say, man, know thyself.
Yes.
You remember? So you know yourself, you know your financial capability, you know your pocket now. So you look inwardly. If that school wear is still okay, if there's nothing wrong with it, why can't your child use it to start a new term?
Okay.
It's not necessary that you have to make a new, maybe you've been doing it before and you've gotten used to it. Even your child knows that every term he or she starts school with a new school uniform. Then you check your pocket. The uniforms, if you have made a new one this year, let me say this year, not just last term, and it's still okay for the child, why not continue? Even if it was first term, which was last year, the child can still use the uniform.
Okay.
If there's a little damage, maybe some parts were loosened, or some of them needs adjustment. If the child, maybe because of the holidays, the child has relaxed and has added a little, and the school uniform is too tight, you don't need to just go straight to make a new school uniform for your child. All you need to do, some clothes have allowances, you loosen it up a little, and it so it fits the child. And if it's too loose on the child, you can still adjust the school uniform to fit the child instead of going for a brand new school uniform, which is not really necessary if the other one or the other ones, because I know some children don't have just one, they have a pair, 2, 3. So you can make do with the ones the child has, provided it's still in good shape, condition.
Okay, that's for school wear, school uniform. And then, since we are talking at this point about the day student, let's also reflect when we are talking about school wears. How many school uniform does a child need to have for school? Just looking at it, and then how do they handle the uniform? For those in the nurseries, and then primary, secondary, I know they will be a little bit careful. We're talking about nursery and primary. Do they know that they don't have to play too much, so that they don't have to wash their uniform every day? Do they have 1 or 2? Is it possible for a child to wear uniform for 3 or 2 days before the parent will wash it and all that? It depends on how parents will also train the child on how to wear the uniform.
It boils down to parents.
Because if you tell your child, this uniform, I don't need to wash it every day, because the more I wash it, the more it wears out. So I want you to wear this uniform for the whole school session. My child, please, when you go, don't play too much. And then maybe it's on a Monday, when you come back, I just need to air it. No, if you sweat, just put it outside for sun to touch it, and then you wear it again. If it gets dirty and I get to wash it every day, then that means the school uniform will wear out, and I will need to sew a new one, and we don't have money. How about that for a child? Is it the right way?
That's that. Yes, that's good communication. You communicate with the child, make the child see reason.
But those in the nursery, will they answer you?
Yes, why not? Make them see reason. No, some schools now, they don't use a particular uniform the whole week, the whole 5 school days. Some of them have sports wears that they use in between. So in my opinion, 2 uniforms are okay, plus the sports wear. So the child can wear one Monday and Tuesday, maybe the Wednesday sports, then the other pair, the other one, the child can use it Thursday, Friday. But in a situation where the child has just 1 school uniform, because I know that some children that have just 1 school uniform and maybe a sports wear, you can still manage. It's all about adjusting. Let your child know your financial capability. Let your child know that, okay, so, as time goes on, I will make a new school uniform for you. This is the one that is available for now. So you adjust. Your child has to understand with you. Make your child see reasons. Let your child understand. There's no how, if you communicate properly with that child, that the child will not understand. You understand me?
Yes.
So the child does not have to look at others, whether the other person has 3 or 4. The child, you have to let your child know that she has to be contented, or they have to be contented with what they have. So they can use a particular one Monday, Tuesday. If need be that they use a sports wear, they can wash. You can wash the other one for them to use the remaining 2 days. So it's all about adjustment and making your child understand, see reason with you.
You know, we are talking about coping with the school resumption.
Yes.
And then some parents will think, I don't have time to talk to a child about any issues. Well, all what I tell the child should do. So you just listen to me. And then because of the biting economy, some will just vent it on their children with anger. And then they will seem to be, instead of communicating, passing a message, they think to abuse the children. Just because of a child plays and come back, what have you done to your uniform? Are you mad? All those crazy words and all that. If you do it like that to a child, I'm not sure that child will cope. I'm not sure the child will be able to adjust and see the need to adjust.
It will affect the child.
So now the idea of coping is, as you are talking to your child and making your child see the need to reserve the uniform for it to last longer, it will also help you, because the money you would have used to buy uniforms every session, you can use it for something else. It all depends on how you make a child to understand. We are still talking about day school communication and how the children can be communicated to when they are going to day schools, right? That's what we are talking about. Now let's still continue. When we are talking about day school, we talk about the child movement to school. How about those that they pay transport for them? How about those that go to school, whether they drop them in school? We are still talking about day school. Now, and some children go to school with a lunch box, day school. for those in the nursery school and then the secondary school, since we are putting the two of them together, let's still talk about it, especially the idea of transportation.
Okay, you know, if your home is not too far from school, you can take a walk. You can walk with your child. Let the child learn. Let the child understand that the school is just maybe a stone throw from your house. So you can take a walk sometimes, and you have to wake up early. So this adjustment is not just on the parents. The child too has to understand,
it takes a parent to make a child to understand the adjustment.
That's why communication is very, very vital. Yes.
And it will help a parent to cope with the situation.
You wake up early, prepare the child, pack the lunch box, make the child have
you have lunch, you have the lunch every time.
Yes, you pack for the child. If you don't have
let the child understand there's no lunch.
When he comes back, when they come back from school, they will eat at home. Then you wake up early, prepare the child, prepare yourself. They take a walk if it's not too far from the home. And then if you're a parent that is mobile and you know the cost of fuel is very high now, then you can also use public transport, which is cheaper. Yes, you can go with keke, even if it means, you know, not taking a drop, you know, not carrying the keke on charter. You can just pick keke, even if it means two different keke, since that's what we have, or bus.
Yeah, that's what we have around, or the shuttle bus. Or sometimes some people stay in the area where they have motorbike.
You can make do with that. Just make sure the bike man, you know, rides carefully. Then all you need to do is wake up a little earlier than usual, than you used to wake up, and let your child understand. And when he comes up from school, allow them to have that observed siesta, since they woke up very early, just to meet up with school. Depending on your adjustment, you have to, when the child comes back, you have to encourage the child to observe their siesta. So you wake up early. If you are mobile, you can just park your car for a while, because of the
parents have done that already.
Okay,
but there's some who are still using and are complaining. They feel they can't adjust.
Yes, you have to adjust, definitely, so you can cope. We are talking about coping with school resumption based on our current economic situation. You said you called it biting. Definitely, it's biting. It's really biting, and it's everywhere. There's nobody that will say they're not feeling it. We are all feeling it. So it's all about adjustment. You can as well park your car. Maybe you can use it once in a while. Definitely. So you can use it once in a while, but you can also make do with public transport. Or if it's not very far, the school is not very far from your house, you can take a walk, stroll with your child. It's another form of exercise, and it's very good for you and your child.
You know, we were talking about communication, helping a child to understand a reason for a particular thing. And so some parents will have to take this opportunity, especially some children that were born with silver spoon. Yes, there are some of them. They just know that mom and dad will take care of everything. I don't have to worry. But things are hard, so they have to understand the changes. So if you vent the anger on your child, you don't allow the child to understand why the child have to go through public transport sometimes instead of the car, and then all that. The child may not really appreciate it. The idea is, as you are coping, carry your child along. Let them understand why things have changed. I did mention if there is no lunch, sometimes just the word sometimes. Depending, it may just be snacks. Instead of the normal packed food and all that.
Snacks like
the
biscuits.
children, something like that. Some children
can make
you know, some children of these days, especially in the nursery arm, mommy, I don't want. Daddy, I don't want. You see some children, they will just give them something, they go to school with it and they come home. And then it's still there in the lunchbox. I didn't want to eat this one. I don't like it. How can a child not like it? And then the child will come back home and you say, okay, Junior, don't worry, I'll make another one for you. Which one do you want? And Junior will keep mentioning what she wants.
For how long?
For how long would you see gifts, Junior? They call a male child Junior. How about the female? What do they call them?
I don't know.
Because we used to hear Junior. Sometimes okay, they call them mommy. They just call mommy or mama. Okay, mama. Okay, so if Junior wants, mama wants, and you keep giving mama and Junior what they want, and then at the time you cannot cope with it, how is it going to affect you and the child? That's what we are talking about. We are still talking about day school. We'll still going to boarding school as well. There's going to be a phone number on the screen. I just know as you're watching, you also want to be part of the interaction. You call us to the number on the screen. Let's get to hear what you have to say. You can also drop a WhatsApp message with that number, and of course you can also drop SMS if you can't call the number. Let's get your contribution as to what we are talking about. Now we've talked about transport, we've talked about the lunchbox, we've talked about uniform. Let's talk about other necessities. There are some parents that are fond of giving their children money to buy something in the school. It's a must. They go to school with money. Wow. And sometimes they may